Welcome back to Bruins Diehards, your source for all things Boston Bruins. As always, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching the content. Leave me a like, leave me subscribe. I am joined today by Brian DeFelice. Did I say that properly? It's the hardest. Like, my last name's hard. I don't know if yours is that as hard.
You know what,
Felice?
Court? I like the way you said it better. It's
Okay.
DeFelice, but I'm gonna start
DeFelice.
using.
Oh, no. I like the way you said it way better.
I don't know, DeFelice. That's pretty. That's
Well,
pretty.
Felice is it's Italian, right?
It is Italian,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, because my wife, she's very Italian, and it's I got to make sure. I don't want people making phone calls from payphones. Next thing you know, this Bruin diehard is done. No one wants that.
Hey, DeFelice. It's all the same to me.
No, I'm never. So I guess it's just almost like police, but we won't go there. Brian is from the Skate Pod and his brand new podcast, The Puck Ups. You can get everything. Just go on his Twitter. Everything's going to be in the link down below. Brian, how the heck are you? Welcome to the show. Actually, people for also listening, this is the first time Brian and I have ever talked together, ever besides on Twitter for the last couple of years.
Yeah. No, I'm doing good, Court. Thanks for having me. We were supposed to start at 1:45, and
Yes.
it's 2:00 because we've been shooting the breeze for a little bit. So it's really nice to meet you, and really cool to just get to meet people that you do talk to online, because it's great talking on Twitter and whatnot, but face to face is always the best way. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no. So today on the show, we're going to be talking about the Bruins missing out on Rasmus Anderson / Kiefer Sherwood and what that all means and whether that even matters. The Dallas Domination, the Boston Bruins last night. It's last night. I'm recording this on a Wednesday. It's going to air on a Thursday, but doesn't matter. I don't care. The Bruins got dominated by the Dallas Stars. A Stanley Cup contender showed that the Boston Bruins might not be what we all think they are. We're going to talk about Dominic Tinao put out a tweet, a little cryptic, about the St. Louis Blues and some conversations. So we're going to get into what ifs with regarding what he is talking about on that St. Louis Blues roster and what the Boston Bruins could be looking at. We're also going to be talking about Morgan Geekie, my boy. I'm wearing his jersey right now. He is out of the slump. So as promised, I'm wearing it on the show. And then it will be up there instead of the Bergeron jersey for a little bit until it maybe goes on another slump and I throw it back on. And we're also going to talk about the games that are upcoming. And we have a certain coach that is coming back to Boston, Mr. Bruce Cassidy, with his Las Vegas Golden Knights, who actually are not playing. They're playing pretty streaky, just like the Boston Bruins. So it might be a more interesting game. But let's jump in right away with the Dallas Domination. Brian, what's your
Yes.
take from last night's dominating win by the Dallas Stars?
Well, my take is that it was disappointing because the Bruins are playing really good hockey, or had been, obviously winning 6 in a row and 8 of their last 9. So going into it, you were looking forward to them gauging themselves against one of the better teams in the league, although Dallas had been struggling themselves. So you don't really get that. I mean, I guess maybe your answer is that's how they stack up, but I don't know. I just felt like the Bruins, they had a decent start to their first period, and then they reverted back to their old ways with the undisciplined penalties, and it just kind of snowballed, and the game just got away from them. So I leave that game just feeling disappointed, because you thought it would be a much more competitive game given where Boston's played lately than it ended up being.
Yeah, especially no Mikko Rantanen last night.
Yeah.
Arguably their best player. I know a lot of people are probably screaming at me right now saying Jason Robertson, but pretty sure they want to trade that guy. So and we'll get into that too. Players like that, for me, it's like, they have their one skill set, and I understand what Dallas is trying to do, and they probably just don't want to invest the money in the future for the kid. But I watched that game. I think you hit the nail on the head with regards to stupid penalties. Lindholm's penalty, I bless his soul, arguing it all the way to the box in the very first period. But come on, man, that's the dumbest of dumbest penalties. And they score right away. And, Dallas, the second best penalty power play now, I believe after last night, the first best power play in the league. You can't rely all season on Jeremy Swayman and Korpisalo helping you on the PK. Zadorov, I'm getting to the point of it's great what he does on the ice, but he's just got to figure it out. Get your head out of your butt, figure it out, knock it off. It can't be this, I'm going to get a penalty every game. I'm sorry. It's just, I kind of had enough. They were playing well and I let it go, but he's got to figure it out. Yeah, you're a big guy, but before you came to Boston, you weren't always leading the league. Figure it out.
Yeah. You know who I was saying figure it out to before he got injured, and now he's since been back in the lineup, at Hampus Lindholm. That's how I felt about him over the last month or so. Just, he was always getting penalties, and even though the first penalty of the game was on Pasternak for tripping Duchesne off the draw. The one part of that play that didn't really get talked much about was the fact that Elias Lindholm won the draw pretty handedly, and Hampus Lindholm just didn't go after it. Like, he was too hesitant. And so Pasternak saw that hesitancy and then obviously saw Duchesne going to pounce on that. And that's when he takes the trip. So I just felt like Hampus Lindholm wasn't on his toes to start that draw. And court, like face-offs are, it gets pinned on center versus center, but it's 5-on-5 out there, right? You have to have the wingers and D jump in. So to me, it's like if Hampus Lindholm is more assertive there, does Boston get that puck and do some sort of defensive neutral zone regroup and go the other way? I think so, but obviously it didn't happen. And then, the Elias Lindholm penalty happens later, Zadorov, and, Swayman actually had a fantastic save right before I forget who it was that scored that goal.
The third one, Hintz. So, like, he stopped Hintz on the first shot, and then my favorite whipping boy, Andrew Peak, was just watching, just almost like, hey, don't worry, you've got this. I'm not even going to touch you. Just keep walking in. Like, your goalie makes a spectacular save on that third one, and you don't bail him out. Like, the first 3 goals, I'm not blaming the goalie on this. Terrible breakdowns, terrible plays. Even the last goal by Robertson, before they pulled Swayman, like, disgusting. Like, I don't understand. Like, there was no room on that, and he still is able to score a extremely disgusting goal. But for me, Swayman didn't play that great in the second. I thought he had a great first period. I thought he kind of broke down in the second, positioning wise, but I also think he was, I hate saying this. He's a very emotional guy, but he was probably extremely frustrated in how bad his team played in the first period. The Bruins stunk. Like, they stunk. I think it's hilarious. They pull Swayman and Korpisalo gets 1 shot on net.
I know. That's the way it goes, huh?
Like, they all of a sudden they play defensively. They're like, hey, they actually woke up for a second. I'm glad Geekie scored. I think if that was my biggest takeaway from the game, was Geekie finally got off the schneid and got a goal. And he needed it. Like, the look on his face when he scored was unreal.
I know. I was kind of hoping, beggars can't be choosers. I was hoping that his first goal would be like a nice snapshot that he feels good about. I don't know if he feels as good about a tip in, but I think you take what you can get. I think if you're trying to find positives from that game, that's obviously one of them. But prior to that, I think, what were the shots on goal? It was 37-18 Dallas. Dallas won 39 of 60 faceoffs. Boston was just chasing the game the whole time. And like I said off the top, it's disappointing because that was a game that you kind of want to see how they would do. The good news or the bad news, Court, is that they have a chance against 2 of the other top teams in the league later this week to stack up.
Montreal and Vegas. Like, that's just crazy. At least they're at home. But, someone said this in my comments, and they're not wrong. The Bruins had been lucky in their last couple of games during this winning streak that they were playing a lot of teams on their back-to-backs. Dallas wasn't this time, and Dallas is on a losing streak. So I know you could pencil it in very easily of a trap game, and they're going to lose that game. I agree with you. I think they came out strong, but only for like the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they just deflated, and there was no pushback. Dallas, and when I say this, and I mean this, I don't care that the Bruins scored 2 goals. Dallas dominated that game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dominated.
Yeah, it felt like there was 10 stars on the ice at all times, Corey. You know those games where you just feel like the other team has twice as many guys out there? They were winning all the races to loose pucks. They were on top of Boston like dogs on raw meat. That's what it felt like watching the game, and just complete suffocation. And obviously Boston's feet were in quicksand. So that they didn't help matters. I think Dallas had a point to prove. They've been struggling and they needed a win. I think I heard they lost 10 of 12 heading into that game. I don't know how that roster can lose 10 of 12.
They're still 28, 13, and 9 though. So
not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. They're definitely a Stanley Cup contender. It is what it is that I take from this game. The Bruins just got outplayed in every facet, and there's no dancing around it. It sucks to be them, but it was almost maybe a wake-up call because we spent a part of a weekend all thinking that the Boston Bruins had traded for Rasmus Andersson. It started with Jimmy Murphy, and I know a lot of people, hop in my comments and they can say what they want, but you know what? Jimmy was right. What he was hearing was real. Elliot Freeman confirmed it over and over and over again. The moral of the story is My source, good friend of mine, he told me that he didn't think that he was going to sign. He heard in the summer that that's where he wanted to go was Vegas, and the whole time that's what they were saying. But it's not like you get these information and you go from there. But like, there's no point in putting it out. Just deal with it. Like Elliot Friedman said that he possibly was going to sign with Boston, but then on the Sunday morning, he contacted the Calgary Flames, him and his agent, and they said, "No, we're not signing with anybody, not even the Vegas Golden Knights." So what happens? The Boston Bruins did the smart thing and they pulled their offer. Now, Elliot Friedman has confirmed that he feels the offer was Mason Lohrei and that Toronto Maple Leafs, possibly the Leafs pick or the Florida Panthers pick, is what Friedman said. He wasn't too sure what the pick were, and he never mentioned Patra. So maybe Patra wasn't part of it. Who knows? It was kind of curious. I guess Patra changed his agent, but a lot of people have told me that I read too much in it. But what do you think of the whole excitement that we felt on Bruins Twitter this weekend with regards to Rasmus Andersson possibly being the new right defenseman for the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, well, it kind of all just depended on cost for me, right? It's Elliot did say, as you mentioned, he mentioned on the Friday episode, or I'm sorry, Monday of this week after the trade. Yeah, he said that he heard that it wasn't Boston's 26th first via Toronto. He thinks it was one of their 27s and Lohrei. And he said maybe it would be a condition that it would be the better of their 27. So, if the cost to acquire Rasmus Andersson was a 2027 first round pick in Lohrei with an extension in place, then I think that's something that you probably do if you're Boston, because, you have to keep in mind Anderson's 29. You know who else is 29? David Pastrnak. McAvoy's 28. Both Lindholms are 31. Zadorov is 30. Geekie's 27. Swayman 27. So there's a fine line that has to be towed here, Court, between Boston trying to manage and build their future while not completely neglecting their present and their current core. And that's what Andersson would be doing. He would be somebody who can play in the present and the intermediate future with your core players for the next 5 years on the right side. It just came down to, for me, I don't know if I'm willing to move a 26 first for it. 27 first, you have my attention big time. So yeah, I was very curious to answer your question. How did I feel last week during all the excitement? I was very curious. I was like, I know why Boston is hunting him. He fills a need, and he's the same age as all of their core players, but at what cost? And so once it came out that Andersson wasn't willing to sign an extension, not only in Boston but anywhere else, to your point, Boston did the right thing and they withdrew. You can't be in the rental market right now if you're the Bruins.
Especially when Andersson kind of made it like known that Vegas was his city of choice. So like, even though I feel Vegas kind of really overpaid, but I think, I made a joke on the internet, and because Elliot Friedman suggested it, like maybe the Bruins go after Zach Whitecloud. Like you already have like a deal kind of in place with the Calgary Flames. Be like, hey, you still interested? Because like Whitecloud, and I agree with Elliot Friedman, screams Boston Bruin. Like it's nobody's business. Would I have loved Rasmus Andersson? Yes. Would it, if it was the 2027 pick? I think it makes it more easier to digest, because I do think this year's draft is going to be you can get some good players out of there, and Boston having two possibly up in the top 20. You don't want to get out of that. And I think Rasmus Andersson does address a need. I did a video that aired today that Boston's got a lot of holes. They got a hole at 1C. They got a glaring hole on the right side behind Charlie McAvoy. Andrew Peeke is not a top 4 defenseman. He'll be very serviceable as a bottom 6, even your extra defenseman. And I still think he probably gets dealt because he's UFA, and I think a lot of Stanley Cup contenders would love to have him on the right side. And you could even re-sign him for next year. He's a UFA, like if you want. But what I'm saying is Rasmus Andersson is a huge upgrade on your right side. I always say if the deal makes your team better, you do the deal. I am not as down on Mason Lohrei as a lot of the internet is. He's puck-moving defenseman. He hasn't played a lot of games in the NHL yet. You're still going to need a puck mover, but Rasmus Andersson can do that. So if what Freeman says is true, and it was just the pick and Mason Lohrei, it's more palatable, and I would probably okay with it. The The one that I actually was having my biggest head scratcher was Kiefer Sherwood. I
Mm,
still like, I know Pete Blackburn screaming from the rooftops, loves every minute of the Kiefer Sherwood, and he wanted him as a Boston Bruin.
yeah.
But for me, I didn't see the need or where he would fit. But what did you think of all that?
I mean, Sherwood to me is listen, if the Bruins were a cup contender, would I want him on Boston? Sure, absolutely. I think he's a player that you can win with. I think he plays a hard style of play. And if we're just taking him at face value, he's a player that 32 teams would want in their lineup. So if this was the 22-23 trade deadline or something like that, maybe Court, but no, not where the Bruins are. I mean, he didn't go for anything crazy. He didn't go for a first rounder. So I just don't think Boston's not there. You know what I mean? He's not a needle mover for them. And I want to say he's in his early 30s. So I just think that the Bruins, you already have your fair share of guys that are in their late 20s, early 30s. You don't need to add to that. Now I know Anderson kind of spits in the face of that argument, but Anderson fits a clear need for Boston. Sherwood, I think, do I like him? Yeah, but I think you have a couple of those in your lineup right now.
Yeah, I made this when the rumor first dropped. I was like, they already have a younger Sherwood and Tanner Jeannot. I understand Sherwood's got maybe a little bit more offensive pop, but I don't see him fitting in your top six. So what's the point? Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, you're just throwing him in the bottom six, so he's just another bottom six guy. Like you're gonna put him on what, the right side with Fraser Minton? That's where you're put. It made no sense to me, the Sherwood stuff, and that was the one where I was like, I think they dodged the bullet on that one. More of
Yeah.
a blessing in disguise, and I'm sure the Bruins are in on him because anytime a player of that ilk is around, the Boston Bruins get mentioned. But I wanted to ask you a question: is what was your expectations going into the season, and did you think that we would continue with those expectations to hear the Boston Bruins in? Because it seems like anytime for me, when I'm listening to 32 Thoughts or I'm watching Sportsnet here in Canada, they keep mentioning the Boston Bruins in on big names.
Mm.
And I'm wondering, like, I understand this is a retool, but big names come with big price tags.
They do, and you raise a point that if you don't bring it up at some point, I'm going to later on because I want to get your thoughts on a potential trade um, situation somebody mentioned to me earlier today, and it put my brain in a pretzel because I wasn't expecting it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. As far as my expectations heading to the year, listen, I thought they were going to be a hardworking team. I thought that they had the potential to be good defensively. Swayman was a big question mark coming off of last year, but I thought they had the potential to be good in goals as well and be more structured and whatnot. I thought Steve Spott would come in and help the power play, especially in transitions and zone entries, and he's done that. What I didn't expect was for Boston to be a top 10 team in goals scored and goals for per game. I didn't expect them to go from the 28th power play to the 5th.
Yep. Fifth best power play, 20th in per goals against per game, and
Yep.
9th in goals per game. And they
Yep.
have, unfortunately, the 19th best penalty kill.
And the most minor penalties taken, I think.
And they have some of the top guys in the league taking penalties again.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, when the Bruins are disciplined, the proof is in the pudding. They are an effective team this year. But ultimately, what did I expect? I expected them to be a team that best case scenario would be contending for a wild card spot. I think I talked a lot in the offseason about the potential for the 25-26 season to maybe be reminiscent, best case, of the 07-08 season, where you come back from some down years, in this case for Boston, a down year, and you reestablish that structure and identity and maybe crack the playoffs and make some noise in a round and get some experience. Worst case for Boston, depending on how you look at it, I thought they would be another bottom 10 finish. So I guess it remains to be seen what happens, but they're kind of right in that. They're in the wild right now. Right. You know what's crazy, Court? Right now, they are 5th in the Atlantic Division in both points and points percentage, and they are 11th in the league. So they're 5th in their division, but they're 11th in the league, which speaks to the competition in their division.
The parity is crazy in the NHL this year. Like, who would have thunk that it almost like I think you almost can put it down. The Florida Panthers aren't making the playoffs this year.
You think so? You think you can put that down now?
I think the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think the Detroit Red Wings make it in. So if I'm looking at the Atlantic right now, I'll pull up the
Yep.
standings. Okay. This is an easy exercise. So if I go into the wild card here, right now you got Tampa, Detroit, Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa, to me, is a phenomenal hockey club. They're also 2 games in hand. I think Tampa's in. I think Detroit's in. I think it's their year. I think Montreal's in. So I think the top 3 are solidified.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the Florida Panthers, who are 53 points. They played 48 games. The Boston Bruins are 58 points. So, yes, Florida's got 2 games in hand, but they have played the most inconsistent hockey I've seen from they've been worse than the Boston Bruins. They're getting blown out just like the Bruins are. These 6-0 games or 6-1 games, it's happening. They've been extremely frustrated out there. And the only thing I can think that might get them going is they've got Matty Tkachuk back, and it's not that he's going to go out there and get points. It's just going to cause havoc, and maybe they're going to play a different style of hockey, but they're still missing Barkov, and that's
Yeah.
huge. Like Marchand slow down, like that crazy goal pace that he had, and him, I guess Geekie too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just look at a team like Toronto Maple Leafs who are kind of surging right now. And
Yeah.
Buffalo, they've got to still if you're Florida, you've still got to get over Toronto, Boston, and Buffalo.
Yeah, and it does look court like the Atlantic is in position to potentially send 5 teams to the playoffs. But you mentioned the standings, and here are the top 6 teams in the Atlantic. Their records in their last 10 games: Tampa Bay 9-0-1, Detroit 7-2-1, Montreal 6-3-1, Buffalo 6-3-1, Boston 8-2-0, and then Toronto 6-2-2. So your reward for winning right now in the Atlantic is just keeping pace. But to your point about Florida, I have a hard time, not that you're doing this, I have a hard time going on record saying that they won't make it because they did just get Tkachuk back. But what I will say is that they do have every reason in the book to not make the playoffs this year. They've played a lot of hockey. They've gone to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. They've won the last 2. But to your point, they've been without Barkov all year. They just got Tkachuk back. Recently, they were playing without Barkov, without Tkachuk, without Marchand, without Seth Jones. I think maybe even Lundell may have been down
And
for a little
Jones is going to
bit.
be out for a while, right? He's not even going to play for Team
Yeah.
Canada officially.
Team USA. Yeah, for
Team USA. Sorry, my apologies.
for the
You
Olympics.
got Lacombe taking
Jackson
his spot.
Lacombe. Yeah. So I mean, listen, Florida's it was going to be a tough road for them regardless with all their injuries. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So hey, listen, this is the Bruins' path, right? Wild card. You're gonna have to make the wild card, and I do think the Metro is kind of like meh. So
you're not getting by Montreal. Lane
no.
Hudson. I that tweet from the Montreal Canadiens last night about Cole Caulfield. I think you could have done it for Lane Hudson too. You could have done Team USA ×2. Just when Lane Hudson scored his, I was just like disgusting. Both of them phenomenal players. I'm actually, as we talked about this before the show, I'm cheering for Team Canada in the Olympics. I live in Canada. I've grown up here my whole life. Team Canada left some guys off the roster, and I think the big name is Connor Bedard. But for me, looking at Team USA, like how Cole Caulfield is not on that team over JT Miller is beyond me insanity. JT Miller, the cancer in the room, the cancer on the ice, not having a good year. Like, I don't care. He doesn't get to go. Go ahead and score some goals because Canada has got some firepower on that front end.
How about Jason Robertson?
Yeah.
I mean, he's another one. It's like, listen, if you want to have Vinny Trocheck or JT Miller, like, listen, I get it. The whole adage about we're not bringing an all-star team, we're bringing the right team. I do get that to a point.
I hate that adage.
I know, but I understand it, right? But here's the thing. To your point about Canada, I was looking this up recently. Team Canada has 14 forwards named for the Olympic roster. 12 of them are averaging over a point per game at the NHL right now. And one of the 2 who isn't is Bo Horvat, who's just under a point per game. But you look at Celebrini, McKinnon, and McDavid, I think they're all over a point and a half per game right now. It's stupid. So I guess we'll see if Vinny Trocheck can block some shots and make his roster spot worth it. But yeah, there's definitely some snubs to go around for both countries. No doubt about it.
I look across the league and you just look at even the Eastern Conference. So like the Rangers are out. Like they're the losers of the group. But from 14th, which is the Ottawa Senators at 53 points, to 8th, which is the Pittsburgh Penguins at 57 points. There's room for a team to just go on a win streak and go right back up the standings, because it's just like the Bruins could be at the bottom of the standings. If someone put it out there into the ether yesterday, the Bruins could just go on another 6-game losing streak again, which they very easily could when considering who they're about to play. And then they shoot themselves right back down to the bottom, and then they go on a winning streak again. They go right back up to the top. We look at all the other professional sports like baseball, who really needs a salary cap like it's nobody's business. Sorry to you Red Sox fans. I'm a Jays fan, but like, man, the LA Dodgers doesn't even make sense. Like, it's just not even fair. And then you have basketball where they all made these super teams, and now the ratings are down and no one cares about the sport. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of people that love it, but I'm saying they've lost a lot of their fan base. The NHL, as much as it needs the United States to grow, and I think parity is helping it, and their ratings are growing, and people are getting more into the game. Heck, heated rivalries has helped it so much, which is phenomenal. I'm actually shocked, because I thought the Boston Bruins would be, going for that wild card, but really not there at all at any point. Just always just in the middle, and they're not. They're up there. Like, they're not in the Detroit's at 64, Montreal's at 63, but yeah. The Bruins could win their next 5, and Montreal loses their next 5, and the Bruins are 3rd in the division.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. That's the prize for. Listen, they've done damage control multiple times this year. Both of their long stretches of winning hockey came after 6-game losing streaks, right? So it's like their reward for winning 7 in a row earlier this year in 8 of 9, and then 6 in a row recently in 8 of 9 again. Their reward was kind of getting back to where they were before their long losing streak. What the Bruins haven't been able to do yet this year is pile up multiple longer winning streaks in close proximity. If they can do that, then there's that separation that you're alluding to potentially.
Yeah, so it's interesting you talk about reward, and I wanted to get into something, because we talked about the Bruins in on trades, and Dominic Tinao, friend of the show, put out a post on Twitter that says recent talks between Armstrong and Sweeney have been centered around Team Canada, but I have been told those talks also went beyond the Olympics. It's very interesting you talk about rewards, because if you're Don Sweeney, do you reward this roster? Because if you look at the St. Louis Blues, they're not going anywhere. Their coach, he's not doing so well. I don't know. I think we used to have him, but if you're the Boston Bruins, I think you take Braden Shen off the menu. He has made it publicly known that if he's going anywhere, he wants to go to Luke Shen. So the 2 Shen deals to go to Boston makes no sense. That sounds like a team that sounds like the Dallas Stars. That sounds like the Vegas Golden Knights. That sounds like a team, Edmonton. It sounds like any team that thinks they're a cup contender.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say that I'm going to name 2 players, and those are probably the 2 players that you can think of as well. Jordan Kyrou or Robert Thomas. What are your thoughts?
Okay. So here are my thoughts. Before we go further, I just want to, for those who may not know just the caliber of players that they are, because I think a lot of people know Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, yes, but they're not necessarily on NHL posters around the league. So
Robert Thomas famously passed over by the Boston Bruins, and they did not select him.
It's supposed to be a good podcast here, Corey. We gotta
I know, but I stopped that. Everybody talks about 2015, and I look at that draft, and I'm like, that one stunk just as bad.
Yeah, it did. All right, so Robert Thomas is 26 years old. Okay, he's obviously a center iceman. He's got 429 points in 508 games played. That's 0.84 points per game over his career. Jordan Kyrou is 27. He has 353 points in 456 games. That's a 0.77 points per game average. So either one of those players would be a phenomenal addition to Boston's roster, because they are still young enough where you could argue, are just in the beginning of their prime still. Robert Thomas is 26 years old. He's the number 1 center. So I want to bring this question up to you, Court, because on the skate pod earlier, Scott McLaughlin asked me this, and he caught me completely off guard, and I had no idea how to answer it. For Rasmus Andersson, I wouldn't have touched a 2026 first-round pick. For Robert Thomas, I think you have to touch one of those picks. Or Scott asked me, in lieu of a 26 first round pick, would I be willing to include James Higgins going the other way to St. Louis? And I was stunned. I was like, you know what, buddy? I wasn't expecting to answer this question right now. So I don't mean to do the same to you.
It's fine.
But
I'm ready to answer it.
Robert Thomas, just so we're all on the same page here, and I don't mean
Two-way
to comment-
center. He's at 8.125 till 29:30. So he's locked up. You have cap certainty, but he does have a no trade clause. He has to have approval to any team he goes to. He also has the big, by the way, this is going to be the funniest thing I say in a long time. I saw him at the airport once. He has the biggest hockey butt I have ever seen. Right after the All-Star game, I was hopping on a plane and I ran into him in the customs line. And I was like, I literally looked at him and was like, oh my God. And he looked at me and I was like, I know who you are, but oh my God, man, how do you fit in jeans? And he just died laughing and his girlfriend was dying laughing, or wife, whoever it was, dying laughing at me.
But now you got to get him to Boston, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so he's definitely like Rasmus Andersson is a guy who filled a need, right? He's top 4 right shot defenseman.
But he's not a top pair.
No, he's not. He's not. And he is that much closer to 30. Robert Thomas, I mean, you'd have to be willing to give up something substantial for him, obviously, because there's no guarantee that a first round Stanley Cup champion and he is a legit 1C in this league and he's still only 26. Now, I call me a homer. Like I really want to see James Higgins where his spoke be, but a draft pick that I don't know who that is yet, I think I'm willing to do that.
So for me, I think you hit the nail on the head at the end. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. If I had to give like almost the same guarantee, like if I said to them, if they were willing, and I don't think they would be, I think Robert Thomas is the one to get. I am not sold on Jordan Kyrou. He's a winger. He's a right winger. It's almost the opposite of what the Bruins need. Bruins would need, I think, more help on the left, even though I think Geekie plays better on his off wing. But at the same time, I think the Bruins' biggest need, besides right shot, is down the middle. And if you can address it with a guy like Robert Thomas, I think you go all in on a guy like that. Because I always say, I said it on my video, if you're going to make the big trade, it better be for an elite player. I think Robert Thomas is that elite player. I think he's the prototypical Boston Bruin. He plays both ways. He's got speed, great shot, good kid. And I think at $8.12 million for the foreseeable future, considering how the cap is going up, that's an extremely good contract. And I do think he's a 1C, and that would automatically move Lindholm down to that 2C spot, possibly the 3C, but I would not change James Higgins. I would be willing to put the Leafs first round pick this year or the higher of the 2 first round picks next year. But that's also to say, what does St. Louis want in return, right? But would I be willing to trade a first round pick for him? Yes. I think he's worth it. If you're going to trade one of those assets, which are huge, it needs to be something that would change your franchise's trajectory. And I think Robert Thomas would do that for the Boston Bruins because he would be a piece that would either hopefully fit in with Pasta or he'd fit in with Geekie. Figure out who you're going to have on his wing there. I just think it's a substantial upgrade. I didn't think Rasmus Andersson was a substantial upgrade. I don't think Jordan Kyrou is a substantial upgrade. Jordan Kyrou needs to be your number 1 right winger. We already have one of those. So it'd be great to put him on the right side, but I also think the fan base here would hate the living daylights out of the guy because they get mad at Pasta sometimes, but we forgive him because he scores 40-plus goals a year all the time and sometimes can score more. Kyrou playing second line, not being the first thought on the power play. He's not going to get the touches he got in St. Louis, and his back checking is not the greatest. I think it's the best way to describe that. Young lad. I think if it's anything from St. Louis, I would love the living daylights out of Robert Thomas.
Oh my God. I mean, that really is.
That's the amount of Matchbox 20 jokes we could make. Oh my God.
That's the hope, Court. But, it's interesting because Dom doesn't put things out willy-nilly.
No, he does not.
And with that said, it's like, okay, so I definitely believe what Dom is saying. But why the hell would St. Louis want to move on from Robert Thomas for all the reasons that we would covet him? Like Kyrou, I get because like I can see Kyrou being viewed as like a talented but yet inconsistent player that maybe you can get something for. And again, like if Kyrou is who Sweeney's inquiring about, I mean, he's obviously a good player, but like we're talking about, Robert Thomas is the guy we hope he's talking about.
Hey, actually, another guy we hope he's talking about. We'll get to him in a second. I just realized he shoots right, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Who?
Colton Parayko. Oh my god, I'm just like losing my mind. But I just, if you're
Ah,
St. Louis, that's like he's 32 years old. You might want to trade him before
Hmm.
you trade Robert Thomas. But hey, I'll tell you this right now. If we could get both of them, see you later, James Higgins. It was nice knowing you.
If you can get Parayko and Thomas,
I would trade Higgins in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice. I wouldn't even. I would come from Toronto. I would pick him up and drive him to Logan and be like, "It was nice knowing you, man." I don't know, man. Colton Parayko is one heck of a. Yes, it jumpstarts everything, but if you're only getting rid of one first, I know we're getting into the weeds now, but I look at St. Louis. So we talked about retool versus rebuild.
Yeah.
So here's the question to you: Their goaltender right now is Jordan Binnington. He's 32 years old, looks like a bag of pucks. Their backup, hey, he's my goalie for Team Canada, and he's terrible. Their backup is Joel Hofer. So right now, the Boston Bruins have better goaltending than them. Your defense are Justin Falk at 33 years old, looks like a shell of himself. Torrey Krug, who's on the long-term IR, is never playing again. Heck, he's probably somewhere in Boston having drinks with the boys.
Yep.
Colton Parayko, Philip Broberg, who's 24 years old, left shot D, great guy. Cam Fowler at 34, left shot D, looks like he's 34, left shot D. Kyle Tucker, like honestly, sounds more like Kyle Tucker. Then you got Logan Mailloux. Still don't understand that trade that they did. And then you've got like in your forward group, Robbie Fabry, who's always in on trade things. Snuggerud, who I really like. Oscar Sundquist. Nick Bukestad, Jordan Bergeron, it's not Bergeron, but Bergeron. Sorry, Dylan Holloway, like the kid. Jake Neighbors, like they don't have Braden Shen is out the door. They're more in rebuild than they are in retool. They can't build. There's no McAvoy, Pasta, Swayman there. They don't have a goalie. And Colton Parayko's at 32. He's on the wrong side of being a part of a core. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're 31st out of 32 teams in the league in points, and same in points percent.
And you know their coach is going into the dressing room telling them how great they are and how they all want to hang out after the game.
McKenna or one of these guys with a top pick. I mean, yeah, trading away Robert Thomas.
I don't know. I hope it's Robert Thomas. If they're talking somebody, I'm scared that if it's Jordan Kyrou, because that doesn't make sense to me. And I know the fan base, I already saw it all over Twitter. As soon as Dom did it, articles were being written and everybody's putting two and two together. The only two that I would want to on this team is Thomas and Parayko. Otherwise, nothing makes unless there's why would they trade as Jake Neighbors or Dylan Hall? Like, there's no reason to move those guys. And Buchnevich does not do it for me at all.
You got to be careful with Parayko though, because you said he's 32. So that I love the player. But what again, so for me, that would come down to what are you giving up for him? I wouldn't want to give up that much for Parayko given his age.
I get that, but if you're getting say this is what I'm saying. This is the Parayko, Rob Thomas, pick whatever first you want, and James Higgins, it's done. And I'm not giving you anything else, but if that's not willing to do it and you want this, and it's got to be this ridiculous amount, you want more first and all that, no, because I would play hardball, especially on Parayko. He's at year 4 of 8 at $6.5 million. His contract expires when he's 37. He's going to be a shell of himself. He's got no goals this year, 12 assists, but he hits like a ton of bricks and kills people on a regular basis. But again, Parayko's more of a guy you do. Both are assistant captains on this team too. Like you instantly.
Oh yeah, I mean they're both lights out players.
You give less for Parayko than you do for Rob Thomas.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
But you asked about who would I trade for James Higgins? If I could get both of them, and I had to have Higgins in the deal,
yes,
I'm okay with it.
Okay, but for Robert Thomas and no Parayko,
it
has to be both of those.
It has to be both. Higgins, I'm not trading for Robert Thomas because I still think. Right now, I think Higgins gets signed at the end of the year. He plays in Providence. Maybe he plays a game or two for the Boston Bruins after they trade out Arvidsson and Peak and all the rest of those UFAs, and they've got room.
Yep.
If you could somehow, like I don't know, pull a Don Sweeney and move Lysell, Patra, Mason Lowry, and only one of those first, and you get both those players, then I don't know. I'm so happy.
Yeah, or it's a situation where Higgins isn't even part of a trade package for Thomas, and it's
I
yeah.
can't. I would not do the deal if Higgins is going for Thomas. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, no, I know, and that's why I'm saying, like, it would be amazing if they could find a way to get Thomas without giving up Higgins. Which, again, I hear what you're saying, but that would be the best of both worlds. To your
But
to your
if you're
point.
St. Louis, you're asking for him.
And that's kind of why it's like wishful thinking, or you're asking for 2 firsts. You know what I mean? You're asking for a 26 and a 27 first or something like that.
I'll say this: Robert Thomas is going to get,
and like Poitras or something, or Laura.
and people might get mad because I know he scores a ton of goals. Robert Thomas will get a bigger return than Jason Robertson will out of Dallas.
You think Robertson's going in from Dallas?
I
why
don't
is
know.
he so like
That's
unliked by his team in USA Hockey?
I would love to know who he pissed off.
He's pissed off somebody
because the kid can score. He's an RFA. I think he's 26 years old. He's an RFA, and he's going to want 13 to 14 million next year. That's why people don't like him.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you're going to get Robertson, the reason why I say you get less return for Robertson, because Robertson needs to be re-signed, and something he has done in the years in his life to piss somebody off. He's not on Team USA. When they talk about trades, when Friedman talks about him, or they talk about here on the radio here, it's not like they're giving him a haul. It's more like, we'll trade this guy 1-for-1 type deal if it's Jason Robinson, because they want the cap certainty. Rob Thomas gives you cap certainty, so you have to pay for that, right? You don't got to pay to get Robertson. But I don't think Robinson's the guy that the Bruins should go after either. Like, it doesn't make sense. Shoot left, I get it, but like,
yeah,
you don't have enough pucks to go around.
Well, and I also feel like Thomas, to heighten your point of the return would be greater, is that, he plays a more valuable position, right? I mean, Robertson's a winger, right? So
yeah, Robinson's left shot, plays left and plays right.
Yeah.
Rob Thomas is named after a great lead singer of the Matchbox 20. But he is a two-way phenomenal on the faceoffs, hard-nosed. He's the guy we thought we were getting when they signed David Backes. He is that guy. Like, he kills people. He puts people through boards. He was possibly going to make Team Canada for the Olympics until he got hurt. He was on that bubble, right?
I don't know, Court. I might smell a Twitter poll coming your way for you to post.
Hey, I know what my thumbnail is going to be for this podcast. It's definitely going to be Rob Thomas, and it's definitely.
Would you trade James Higgins in a first for Rob Thomas?
I can't. I understand what Scott did to you, and well played, Scott, because I would have done the same.
He put my mind in a pretzel, an onions pretzel, Court.
And I do have a rule: if it makes you better, but I don't think that does. I don't think there's enough in the cupboard for the Bruins to be able to afford to move a guy like James Higgins. I don't think you have enough.
I mean, Court, how long has it been since they had a true top 6, top line prospect center iceman?
Yeah, it's too to Tyler Seguin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the last one, and that's 2011, 2010. Like, that's a long time ago. 2010. That's a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a no. As much as I would love Robert Thomas, he's 26 years old. He's got a lot of life in front of him. How about this? 1-for-1, sure. St. Louis wants to go Higgins for Thomas. I'm done. It's done deal. Done deal. Twice.
You just flipped on that.
No, because before you said Thomas, you want Higgins and a first.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
So
you want to do the trade. If you want Elliot Friedman to put out the trade as 1-for-1, I'll do that deal. But I am not adding in a first round pick if I'm moving James Higgins.
I feel like if I were to say no to Higgins and for Thomas 1-for-1, I feel like any hockey fan or analyst outside of this region would look at me and call me insane. Like,
I would.
And I think I get that.
Okay, what's your ceiling on Higgins? What do you think he's going to be? You think he is a 1C? Right now, I think his ceiling's a 2C, but that's fine. That's still good.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think his ceiling's a 1C. I don't know if he'll ever be like a top 10 a top it's tough because right now I look at him and I say, well, that's a lofty goal, but I don't know. You add 7 years onto somebody, he fills out, he can finally grow a beard. You know what I mean? Like I think he could be something
A beard's not
later
gonna make
on.
him a good hockey player, but yes, I get it.
No, but with 18-year-olds, it's tough to tell sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
But is this Boston bias because he plays locally? Like, do you think
no,
if he played in the OHL, okay?
yep,
So look at Michael Misa. Michael Misa lit up the OHL. He went to San Jose, and it's like, hey, maybe he went a little too early.
yeah,
James Higgins, to me, needs to be stronger on the puck, 1,000%.
mm-hmm,
Rob Thomas has already got it.
yep,
Rob Thomas instantly becomes your 1C. If it's a
mm-hmm.
one, like I said, 1-for-1, I don't even think twice. Like I said, I'll drive and pick the kid up and drive him to St. Louis. I have zero issues with that. But if it involves another first-round pick, I say no. 1, Thomas has injury history. 2, I just don't think the Bruins can afford to do that. But if you're wanting James Higgins to be Robert Thomas, but you're being offered Robert Thomas for James Higgins, and you have a core that is
You're
in
right.
its late 20s, you do that deal.
It's a fair point, Court, and I think what you're doing in that situation though is you are doubling down on your
this
current core,
Yep.
and you are, you're punting on the future, and James Higgins at least does give you somebody who can play with your current core over the next couple of years. Well, honestly, I mean, he'll play with your current core for the next 7-8+ seasons, but
You
then
still have
beyond
Letourneau and Zellers.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hitch my wagon to Letourneau. I do love Zellers. I'm just saying, like, if you,
That's a lot of wagons you're hitching to Higgins, though.
it is, but at least, listen, I totally see where you're coming from. 1-for-1. I think push comes to shove, I think I'm doing it too. All I'm saying is that, you're just doubling down on the here and now, and your insurance policy for beyond this current core is now once again a question mark.
But you still have 2 firsts this year, and you have 2 firsts the following year.
Yeah, let's see who they
So
become.
that's the way I look at it. So if you didn't already have 4 picks in the first round in the next 2 years, yeah, it totally makes sense because your cupboard still isn't there. Yes, the Bruins had a phenomenal draft last year, and they had a okay draft the year before, but they still don't have a cupboard. Like, they're still in the bottom, in the league for prospect pool, and James Higgins is their number 1 prospect. I just think Robert Thomas, and we're talking about a guy we don't even know is available, but and we're spending so much time doing so. He is a huge upgrade,
No,
and
he is.
he is the 1C. He's like, I laughed when we signed Elias Lindholm. I was like, oh, he's a 1C, and I was like, he's not, but that's fine. He'll play 1C. He is not a 1C. It would automatically shift your centers to where they should be. So then Zaka could play in your 3rd C. He play his age, or he can go onto the wing. But Elias Lindholm slots into that 2nd C, and that's better. He's better off being there. And then you have Kastelik or you can move out Corrali and make Kastelik your 4th C, and you're fine.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I think if Higgins is playing in the CHL last year, I think he's putting up over a point per game numbers with some of the other players.
Agreed.
I think part of me, listen, 1-for-1 Higgins for Robert Thomas. I'd be an idiot to say no to that. Like you hope that, to your point, Higgins could become a Robert Thomas type player.
Yeah, I think that's the question.
Yeah, you do.
You put that first in. I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah.
As much as I want Robert Thomas, I just think you're mortgaging the future and you're putting a Band-Aid on the current situation. You have those 4 first-round picks. You can possibly turn that into a right shot defenseman that jumps in the lineup in the next 2 years, and you've solved your issue.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how serious those talks are, I guess.
Yes. Well, no, I'll say this. Dom is, if he's saying it, it's a real thing. And he's usually knows a lot about what's going on in that St. Louis organization. So
yeah,
he knows. It's funny. There's not many insiders in the Boston area, but for some reason, this guy that lives out in Ontario, Dominic Tinao, can somehow pull it off a lot. So, and he does get quoted by Elliot Friedman and stuff. So he does have the chops that way. But I wanted to get into. We talked about it. We alluded to it. How relieved were you when Morgan Geekie broke out of his slump? Like, were you worried at all during his slump?
No, I think that for me, it was a matter of when, not if. Like, I feel like he's the type of player that once he found the back of the net, that the rest will start to come. Like I said earlier, it would have been nice for that first goal in a while to come off of a stick, not a tip. Do I think he'll get back to the pace he was scoring at before? No, I think that was a little bit, probably it'll look back. It'll probably be the best part of his career, that calendar year stretch. But I think he'll get back to being a promising goal scorer for them. And what's interesting, Court, is that he's still second on the team in scoring by 8 points on Pavel Zacha.
And the most goals still.
Yeah, and over the last 13 games, Geekie only has 4 points and Zacha has 9. So that goes to show how strong he was playing prior to the slump.
Yeah, Pasta was 60 points, 40 assists, but Geekie 26 goals, leading the team.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonathan Aspero, quietly best plus minus on the team.
So Court, who's your season ends today? Who's your 7th player award winner? Aspero, Husnudinov, who I love, by the way, or Fraser Minton? I think that's a pick 'em.
I don't think it's a pick 'em right now because it's the fans picking it. So I think it's Fraser Minton
over Kuzi.
Yeah, I love Kuzi. I love his speed, but you see, you're in the area, but I do notice I see Fraser Minton jerseys. I don't see Husnudinov jerseys. The store sells Fraser Minton jerseys. I ran a contest thanks to my friends over Fanatics who even sent me this amazing my Morgan Geekie jersey, but hashtag gifted by Fanatics. A lot of people put Fraser Minton in there as the jersey. A lot of people. And Fraser Minton, I had we just did a pod and I had Mick Calaggio on and another Italian boy. And he kept continuing, and I'm not going to do that yet because I'm not there yet. He kept continuing to compare Fraser Minton to Bergeron, and I think the fan base does that a lot. And I think Fraser Minton it's almost you say a pick 'em, I feel like he's almost a runaway at this point.
Yeah, if it turns into a popularity contest, I mean, there's definitely
it is though. What is it? It's the 7th. It's voted by the fans.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be the player who played above and beyond expectations.
And the Hart Trophy is supposed to go to the actual person that's the most valuable team, and the Norris Trophy is supposed to go to the best defenseman, and it just goes to the guy who gets the most points. So sorry for poking holes in it, but
you're not wrong.
Trent Frederick won 7th Player Award, which made no sense the year he won it.
Yeah,
it always goes to the guy. Fraser Minton, at least if he wins it, we're like, at least we love this kid because if you're Elias Lindholm, you look at him and go, damn, he might take my job.
I think Minton's going to be a captain for the Bruins in the next five, like an assistant captain.
Yeah, you've opened the door. Who do you think is the captain next year? Because they'll name it next year. We love Geekie. I know we were on the Geekie thing, but we've now gone on a tangent. We're going to go into it.
And I can't say Husnudinov. Okay, then all right. Let's see here.
You think Husnudinov's going to be captain next year?
No. I think Pastrnak. I think it has to be Pastrnak.
I think so too. I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point. The way Marco Sturm talks about Pasta, the only two he ever mentions as being leaders is McAvoy and Pastrnak. Otherwise, he talks about the other guys talking about the team like Zadorov. And I know people would love to pick Zadorov, but you can't have your captain being in the box every game. I'm sorry, you can't. It's a terrible, terrible leading by example.
Well, I think he's also, he's also prone to, the viral soundbite here and there. And I just don't think I think, you want your captain to be a little bit more, keep the headlines away from the team if you can. So I think it's Pasternak's job to lose. I mean,
yeah, because the captain's job, and you nailed the head, it's a lot about PR. Like look at Pasta last night with TNT.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, listen, he's going to go down as the greatest goal scorer to ever play in the Bruins franchise history. Yeah. If he plays long enough with Boston, I mean.
Sorry about your luck, Cam Neely. It happens. Actually, Phil Esposito before Cam Neely.
Yeah. Well, I think
Bobby Orr.
I think Chief has the goal record right now, right?
Yeah, that doesn't mean much. That's like Gordie Howe having points record. He just kept playing.
Well, yeah, it's really about points per game, goals per game. That's how it really should be stacked up.
Yeah, I think Pastrnak is the best pure goal scorer to ever play for the Boston Bruins. I think that's an easy statement to say out loud. Bobby Orr is the best player.
Who do you think's the best passer?
Adam Oates. I can't.
Yeah.
Adam Oates during the 90s, he just unbelievable his vision. Like when he was in St. Louis and then he came to Boston and he actually took it to another level when he came to Boston, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. I thought, and because I'm old, Jason Allison, I thought was a very good passer. Joe
Mhm.
Thornton, extremely good passer. Phil Esposito, extremely good passer. Bobby Orr, this is a tough. Jesus, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Adam Oates just because it's the only off the board that everybody's not gonna
Yeah.
stay like the guy that should be up there.
Savard was good too, a little bit
Yep.
later. I don't know if he had as much time in Boston to really cement himself. How many years did Oates play here? Like 5, 6 maybe?
4 or 5. Hold
I
on.
feel like
I
actually
could do the research.
Oates and Savard are kind of comparable in that way where they were both there for like maybe 4 or 5 years, but
He's
towards the end of
literally
their career.
known for his passing, though.
Oh
Adam
yeah.
Oates.
I mean, Oates is the first thing that comes to
1,
my mind, but I'm
2,
younger.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
No, 5. Because he came in 91. He played half in St. Louis, and then he came to Boston. Still weirdest trade St. Louis has ever done. No offense, Craig Janney, but that was a weird one. Yeah. So the last thing I want to discuss is the Boston Bruins are about to play. You alluded to it at the beginning of the show. They're about to have a 2-game homestand against 2 of the toughest teams in the league right now. One being a heated rival, once again in the Montreal Canadiens. Very exciting game. But the next game, I believe, will be Thursday. So when this airs, is against former coach of the team, and now where Rasmus Andersson now plays, and will be playing his first game, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, when they play against Boston in Boston, the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So how important to you are the next 2 games?
Well, yeah, they're huge. They're huge for all the reasons we talked about earlier in terms of you need to keep winning to stay where you are in the race. And, if you let this loss to Dallas snowball into another extended losing streak, then, your job is just going to get that much tougher. So I think the Bruins have a chance here to right the ship. And what interests me is who gets the start in goal, because obviously Swayman got pulled in the Dallas game. So I wonder if I'm Marco Sturm, I wonder if I tell Jonas Korpisalo, who's won 3 games in a row, hey, Jonas, your job is to get us back on the winning track here against Vegas. And then Jeremy, we want you to take some time here, get your head right, and get ready for a big Saturday night game against Montreal and Boston.
Which is the more important game, Vegas or Montreal? I have my pick, but I'm asking.
I feel like it's always the next one, but like to get back on the winning track. But I mean, I think it's Montreal because it's a divisional matchup.
And he screwed up the last time. Now, in the past, Sturm has thrown him right back in after a poop game. And I'll give it to Sturm. As much as I said, 2 of those goals last night are definitely on Swayman. Sturm has zero issue, a lot like Bruce Cassidy when he was here, of pointing the blame where it needs to be blamed. And he blamed that on the team. He said, yes, he had a couple goals that he didn't like, but he pulled them because he thought I couldn't leave him in the game anymore because no one was helping him.
Yeah.
So goals started going in because he's getting no help. Like that third goal is like the perfect example of you got to be kidding me. And that last goal Robertson scored, he had like the sliver of an inch, literally the size of a puck to get it in, and he got it in there. Beautiful, beautiful goal.
Yeah.
But I think I think I'm with you. I would Korpisalo goes against Vegas, and I think Jeremy Swayman plays against Montreal Canadiens. Sturm keeps throwing out Swayman after these dusts, and I don't think that's the right thing.
Yeah, I just feel like Korpisalo got his feet wet at the end of the game. Just let him slide into the next game, and then let Jeremy just clear his head and get ready for a big one on Saturday, right?
Especially the Montreal Canadiens. How can you not be pumped up for that game? And if you come out flat and say Korpisalo gives you a solid game, because he's played well, but I'm still, unfortunately, for everybody that listens to me on Bruins Diet, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop on Korpisalo because stats don't lie. It's going to happen. He's going to come back down to earth and be, unfortunately, not good again. So he faced 3 shots in total by the end of the game last night. That's not a test. There was nothing spectacular he did while he was in net. But yeah, I think you want to start Corpy against Vegas, especially because Vegas is struggling. They're not playing too well, and their goaltending's terrible. Hill's back, but he's not good. I watch a lot of Vegas Golden Knights games. And they look discombobulated and terrible. And the Bruins know how to play against Mitch Marner, but Bruce does know how to play against the Boston Bruins. So we'll see. I think that'll be a great game, but I think the game is Saturday night against the Montreal Canadiens. I think that's the game.
Yeah, and you know what? The last time Boston played Montreal, they did lose to him. I want to say 6-2, but you look back at that game, and Elias Lindholm should have given Boston a 3-2 lead at the end of the second. There, obviously, the refs call it no goal on the ice, and the Bruins don't challenge. And the next thing you know, Zadorov snaps a stick. It's 3-2 Canadians, and then they went to the box, and then it's 6-2. So that game was closer than it looked. But Yeah, it's a test. Montreal's been lights out this year. What's skill and speed by them? It's core. Isn't it great when you can appreciate this? Like the league is better when Montreal is good. Like you need baseball needs the Yankees to be good. Hockey needs the Canadians to be good. It just
You actually need the Atlantic to be good.
yeah.
You have the Detroit Red Wings being good. If you could have Detroit, Boston, Toronto, and Montreal firing on all cylinders, and every time they play each other, they want to kill each other, the league is better for it because it's exciting hockey when an original six team hates each other. For years, we didn't care about the Montreal. I think it was the last time we cared about Montreal playing Boston was like 2016. It's been way too long since it mattered.
Yeah.
And now the Montreal Canadiens are easily, I think it's arguably to say that they're a better team than the Boston Bruins. I think the Bruins have better goaltending. I think the Bruins have, yeah, it's about it. I think Montreal's got a really good defense, and I think they have an extremely solid forward group. I think Cole Caulfield's amazing. Suzuki's amazing. Slavkovsky's great. It's going to be a beautiful game. I hope the Bruins aren't looking ahead like we are right now. I think they're definitely going to be up for there's money on the board tomorrow on Thursday night for the Vegas Golden Knight game. And then Saturday night is the I want to kill them. And I'm going to put blood on the ice to make sure that we win that hockey game. I think we're going to see playoff hockey from the Boston Bruins. And if we don't within the first 5 minutes of that game against Montreal Canadiens, they ain't winning that hockey game.
Well, and if you don't, then you don't deserve to be a playoff team. I mean,
yep.
Fair. You know, so head-to-head playoff joke between the two teams, 12 years, I think. So that was previously done. I want to say it was back in maybe the 50s into the 60s or something like that. So the rivalry has cooled off over the last decade for a lot of reasons: lack of playoff beatings, COVID, different divisional alignments, blah blah blah. Montreal sucking, Boston being good. You're starting to see that rivalry come back now, which is great.
Yeah, 100%. And the hockey is better for it. So once again, everybody, thank you, Brian DeFelice, for showing up on the show. Everybody go check out the Puck Ups Pod, the Skate Pod. Go check them out on Twitter. I'm going to drop all the links down below. As always, thank you all for always joining us. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for leaving comments. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Brian. If you go in my comment section, if you want to know how your thoughts were and everything, I can promise you the people at Bruins Diehards will let you know. I get a lot of comments, so just be prepared for that. So if you want either an ego boost or the opposite, because sometimes they come after me. But thank you all. As always, click, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.